starting off by sandbanding my natural nails, and I'm also using this to like push my cuticles back. I'm only putting it on the area that is the dead skin. As you can see, it is coming up as we speak. So I'm just going to be going around the cuticle area and then going side to side just to take the natural shine off my nail. Now I'm going in with my cuticle nippers, and I'm just getting that dead skin that came up from whenever I was pushing my cuticles back with the sanding band. I'm not going too deep into cutting the cuticles here, but I'm just cutting that extra dead skin just so it's not in the way whenever I try to apply my acrylic. Now I'm just going to be using my tips with the KDS nail glue and applying them to my nails sidewall to sidewall. And I also use my knuckle to make sure that the tip is straight. So if you go straight down the middle of the knuckle and line it up with the tip, then the tip should be straight no matter how crooked your finger is. So now I'm just going to be going in with my straight scissors and cutting the nails to the length that I want. Mind you, I also work in a hospital, so they really can't be too long. This is also very much so pushing it, but oh well. So yeah, I'm just going to be taking my 80/80 grit file and straightening the edges of the nail tip. And then I'm also taking my sanding band again to blend my natural nail with the tip. And you want to make sure your sanding band is flat with the nail so that like you're not creating any indents with the sanding band. Like you don't want to have any burn marks from it or anything like that. And after I do that, I'm just going to be taking the file and just straightening up the sides of my nail to make sure it's actually square because that's the shape I'm going for. Now I'm just dusting my nails off to get all that dust off, and then I'm going to be taking like a brush to really get in there. Now using Gelish's pH bond, I'm just going to be dehydrating my nails, and then after that I'm going in with the No Lift primer. And I only do one coat of each thing because you don't need nothing other than that. And I'm using 2 Cutes Pixie Dust acrylic powder along with the C&D retention monomer. And also, if you want to get some money off from 2 Cute, don't forget to use my code Kamaya Nails It. I'll also put it in the comment section down below. But as you can see here, I picked up one big bead, and I'm using that to apply it onto the entire nail. So yes, I'm going to be doing the 1 bead method here. And I'm just making sure I'm checking my sides. Oh, that went into my monomer. But I'm just trying to make sure that my shape is going to be staying the same. So you just want to make sure you're tapping the sides of the nail to make sure that you don't lose any shape. And here you can see I'm adding a cuticle bead just so my area at the top is very flush with my natural nail. And here again, I'm picking up a big bead, 1 big bead. And you can see I'm like tapping my brush. That's so that that dry acrylic powder from picking up a huge bead with not so much of a big brush, it dries and it mixes with the wet monomer and the wet acrylic powder. So once again, I'm using that across the entire nail, and I'm bringing it down, taking off my excess acrylic, fixing my shape. And then I'm just going to be going in with another cuticle bead here just to make sure everything looks good. And also when it comes to a 1 bead method, you don't always just use 1 big bead. Like you have to, sometimes fix. It's never perfect. It can be perfect, but don't expect it to be perfect, So I'm going to be tapping that big bead into my cuticle area, as you can see here. And then I'm just going to be bringing it downward and tapping it to make sure it's flat. Once again, I'm checking the sides of my nail just to make sure that I'm not losing any shape, and also taking off any excess acrylic so I don't lose any shape on the tip. But this is what they look like after I did my application. And now I'm taking a medium to fine medium barrel bit that I got from the nail supply store to just smoothen out my nail to make sure that the nail is smooth and flat. And I also use this to go under the nail to like fix the shape, to make sure that the tips are actually straight and they don't have any lumps or bumps in them because of the way that the acrylic was laid. So once again, I'm taking this to smoothen the nail. So I'll come downward with the bit, go under the nail with the bit. You see how all of that's going? That is the extra acrylic, the extra tip, whatever that's underneath the nail that's not making it straight. So I'm also using this and going side to side on top of the nail just to make sure that the nail is smooth and flat. And I'll also like take my finger, as you were probably seeing me touch the nail, just to make sure it's actually smooth. And after I get my nails to how I want, I just go back in with that file and straighten out the sides to make sure that square shape is really still there. And I also use it to straighten out the tip of the nail, and I'll try to use it at a 90-degree angle, but I was also trying to record here, so it was kind of hard for me to see. But now I'm going in with this cleanup bit, and I'm taking it and going underneath the nail to get anything that the medium bit did not get. And this really helps to make the nails look really, really clean. I'm also using it to seal my nails in, because sometimes, you know, especially when doing your own nails, the cuticle bead gets a little runny, or it just gets into spots it's not supposed to be. And now I'm going in with my sanding band once again to smoothen out the nail, to make sure it looks really, really flush with the nail, to make sure it looks natural, so it's not real bumpy and lumpy by the cuticle area. I'm taking my buffer and I'm buffing my nails on the top of my nails, and I'm also taking the buffer underneath the nail to make sure that the edges that I filed are very smooth and not like rigid or sharp or anything like that. So you just do that to all 10 nails. I wash my fingers, and now I'm back using Koopa's top coat, and I'm top coating my nails now just because I want my design to look as smooth as possible. So when you do a top coat first, it helps the art not to bleed onto the nail, especially when doing my own hand. It's really hard to keep my hands very, very steady sometimes. So doing this step before the next step really, really helps that. Okay, to start off with my spiderweb nail, I'm making a heart in the center of the nail, and I'm using a dotting tool to create the top part of the nail, and then I'm bringing it together to a point in the middle just to make a heart. And after I cure that, I'm taking black polish, and I'm just going to be creating lines down the middle in the center points of the nail so that we have a nice straight spider web. And then after that, I'm splitting those halves into halves. And then I'm just going to be adding one more line right there just because it felt really, really spacious. But now to make the spider web, I'm just going to be going in an upward motion, like kind of curling the line a little bit. So it's not a straight line, but it's kind of curved, as you can see here. And I'm connecting them in between the lines that we made earlier. And I just do that around the entire nail. Here we go again. See, I'm connecting them to each other. And I'm curving them at the same time so that it looks like a spider web. No straight lines because it won't look like a spider web. And I do that around the nail and just keep on doing that until I'm like satisfied with the look. And some parts I'm like pressing my brush a little bit harder so it's a little darker. And some parts I'm making it like very, very light, just so that, you know, it looks like a spider web. Because, you know, some spider webs are light parts, there's dark parts, you know what I mean, like kind of, you know, draw what like you kind of see in real life a little bit, but it is also like cartoony. And after I do that, I'm going to be going on to my pinky nail, and I'm going to be creating hearts once again, a light pink heart and a dark pink heart, and I'm using my dotting tool to do so. And then I'm taking my brush once again and creating the heart into a point right there, and you just blend it together so that it looks like a heart. Once again, bringing it to a point and then blending it in until it looks like that. And then after I cure it, make sure you cure it, I'm going to be outlining the heart in black, and this is going to be a stitch heart as well. So once you do the outline part, make sure, you know, it's nice and straight or whatever And then afterwards, I'm going to be creating like X's and slashes on the heart so that it looks like it's like stitched. As you can see here, here's an X, and then I'm just doing random lines. Doesn't have to be perfect. The lines don't have to be super straight. Just, you know, get the job done. Once again, creating like an X so it looks like stitch marks, and then just adding random lines. And I am going to be making this one into an X again, and then also doing it down here. After I do that, moving on to my thumb. My thumbnail is also going to be a stitch type of vibe. So first I'm creating this big X on my nail, and then I'm going to cure that. Make sure you cure it. And then I'm going to be taking that light pink color and basically like coloring in the lines to fill it in so that it's pink on this, the light pink on this side. I'm curing that, and then now I'm coming in with the darker pink color, the hot pink, and filling in that other side of the X mark so that it's basically like a light and dark type of vibe. And once I do that, I'm also going to be curing that once again. And now I'm taking the black to create the stitch part. So I'm going to do an X in the middle, and then I'm going to do a slash to the side and then a slash up and down so that it looks stitched, if that makes sense. Once again, I'm doing an X in the middle, a slash to the side, and then a slash up and down. Hey, don't hate me, but my camera died for this part, but it's very self-explanatory. I just created a pumpkin, and now I'm just making a nice little curl for the top part of it to make it like bibbidi bobbidi boo style, you know what I mean? So now for my pointer finger, I'm making it into a mummy. So I'm just making a X at the bottom of my nail, and then above the X, not connecting to the X, but above the X, I'm making a line. And then I'm also going to be adding another heart onto my pinky in white because I felt like there was no other white on my nail. So I just wanted to add a touch of white somewhere else. But now going back into the mummy, I'm giving it some eyes so that it's real cartoony once again. And then I'm going to be curing that, going back in and fixing that heart so that it's stitched like the other ones. So I'm doing that same thing, outlining the heart, and then afterwards creating those X marks in the line so it looks like it's stitched. Now for the mummy, I'm just giving it some eyes so it can look like it's alive. Cured everything. Now I'm just going in and top coating, and here's the finished look.